Nuance. Noun. A subtle difference in or shade of meaning. Expression. Or sound.
Nuance. Noun. A subtle difference
Nuance.
in or shade of meaning.
Noun.
Expression.
A subtle
or
difference in or shade of meaning.
Noun.
Expression.
A
or
subtle
sound.
difference in or shade of meaning,
Nuance.
expression, or sound.
Noun. A subtle difference in or shade of meaning, expression, or sound.
Welcome to another edition of Nuance Shorts, where we try to keep it concise but maintain our nuance. And this is your kind of host. I'm supposed to have a co-host, Roberto, but I mean, it's totally my fault. I'm trying to figure all this out before I drag him back into it. So instead, I abuse my friend Jim Lauka, who never finished his PhD. So I respect Roberto more than I will Jim. So maybe that's why we're dragging him through all these testing measures. But today, what I want to bounce off Jim is this phenomena. Let's call it a phenomena, because in my mind, I want to say things that I'm supposed to not be trying to say. And this topic is, why won't these gun guys who sit in the very same chairs I've sat in, and they say they will debate somebody from the left who is a gun control person, somebody that has arguments, who's actually been in there. You know, there's actually nobody that's ever been in the mud who is for gun control. Really? I mean, as we've discussed before, and everyone listening to this knows, 4 years in the Marine Corps, 11 years in the police department, on the streets of West and East Baltimore, major case narcotics detective, tied for the highest shooter in Baltimore, scoring shooter in Baltimore Police Department history. And I mean, hell, I was only an average shooter in my Marine Corps unit. I'll admit that straight up. But, you know, I have been in this shit, taking nearly 400 black men to prison. And, you know, those are the things that they say, oh, you've never been in it. You never know unless you've been in there and you've had those stresses and you need to defend yourself. And you've had the bad guys. I've had lots of the bad guys. And I'm still not buying the everybody gets to have guns argument and that it makes us safer. So we just had a new one who did this. But my current list that is going on right now stands at, I'll put number one on my list is Colion Noir, who is always talking trash about nobody will debate, sat in the same chair on Joe Rogan's podcast as I sat in, and said he would debate anybody after that I had already been there saying, where are these guys that will do it? Ben Shapiro has done the same thing, sitting in the same damn chair. Whiskey and Rebellion from Instagram, who's popular. Steven Crowder, Vincent James, JRE's buddy Justin, who I'm assuming is Justin Wren, Devin Tracy, who is Atheism Unstoppable on YouTube, and plenty of more. Many of these people get onto the Skype sessions and then start acting like they have technology fails, and then suddenly can't do it because they act like everybody that's left-leaning doesn't have a...
You're breaking up, Mike. You're breaking up.
They act like everybody that's left-leaning doesn't have a set of balls. And when somebody from the left comes with a set of balls, I want to know where they all are and where they suddenly disappear to. So just last night, I had one, because we were talking about this yesterday, and we screwed up all the podcasts yesterday that we were supposed to do. So we're redoing them today. And so I went and I checked on YouTube to see some of these comments. You know, I love to see the shit that people say. So I came up, I found another video where somebody wrote a hit piece, slander piece on me. And it was years ago, but I didn't know. So I contacted and I said, hey, they're not their name. Would you like to co-produce a podcast where you can challenge me in person and not behind my back? He said, I contacted you twice on Twitter, and the second time you blocked me. So, I mean, Twitter, which I did. I don't know if most people know.
How long have you been off Twitter?
I've been off of Twitter for at least a year. And when I was on Twitter, half the time it wasn't even me managing it. It was this young lady from Virginia who she would help me run it because I was too busy, and I've never even met this lady in person.
Okay.
So, like, I mean, maybe you did, maybe you didn't. That's not how you contact me. I'm pretty easy to contact. If you left off it, I contacted some stranger on social media. Not an excuse. I said, all right, whatever. Have it your way. Peace. He said, why are you afraid of coming on my show? If the truth was on your side, then fear wouldn't be an issue. I literally just offered to. I'm just saying that we can both record and put out. They said, And then I said, you don't have to have the slightest, you guys don't have the slightest clue how to deal with me, do you? Laugh out loud. They responded, I'm not going to share video copyrights with you. Every interview I record is my property and mine alone. I never share them with anyone, including the person I am interviewing or debating. If you want to own a video that includes me in it, then you will have to record it after you have appeared on my show first. Otherwise, I'm not interested. So the goalpost gets moved to, you get my edited cut to actually have a comment on, which for one is ridiculous. You can record any conversation you want. That's not how copyright rules work.
Right.
Ridiculous. But that's just, it's another move. They're always, the goalpost is always moved as soon as something's done. Steven Crowder was just like all over the place moving goalposts trying to avoid me.
I believe that, because his tactic is always, I'm going to drive to Berkeley and have a big banner that says, I'm pro-gun, change my mind, and then challenge some 19-year-old college student. It was like, wow, you're the man, Steven.
That's some ballsy alpha male shit right there.
Right, exactly.
He doesn't go to a military base, doesn't go to, you know, a police department where there's going to be cops. Obviously, cops are always pretty much always gun control. When in reality, they'll say they'll join the NRA and then go lock up people for carrying guns without a permit.
Right.
But anyway, that's a different story. So then it continues. Are we losing you? That's okay. I was talking, so I guess it doesn't matter. We'll be all right. So then I said, okay. I said, reach for whatever excuse you want. So please, my Skype is my email as well. So it's Michael A. Wood Jr. at live.com. Look forward to the conversation. You can have it your way. Last thing you will ever see me do is back down. Move the goalpost all you want. Any other restrictions?
I'm guessing no response. Yeah,
as it always does. So,
I'm freezing again. Should I dump video?
For you to
reply, dump my video?
Oh wait, you're back. Start all over. Go ahead.
My video froze again for a second, so I was going to dump video, but it appears to be back. We've determined it's my shitty East Coast internet, even though I'm not on the East Coast. Yeah, I mean, Mike, the obvious reason why no one wants to debate you on this is they can't attack you as being some tree-hugging hippie. You know, 4 years and 11 years as a cop pretty much dismisses that. You are knowledgeable about guns. The funny thing is we are both gun owners. So, you know, and
you should always use that one. You should always be like, hey, Mike, how's that detective block doing sitting in your...
Well... There's a whole bunch of aspects to this, but the reason no one wants to debate you is they can't impugn your... What's that? So they can't impugn your knowledge or...
If you want to make a solid point, the gun world is going to stop you right now, so cut the video so you can make your audio point. Look at you.
All right.
As soon as you want to make a logical point, they go and work against you.
How do I dump video here?
See, now it's fine.
Now it's working. All right. So... I mean, I am not surprised at all. It's really easy to, when you're in a friendly environment like Joe Rogan Experience, and you want to say, I'll take on anyone, anytime, any place, because there's going to be no pushback from anyone there. And I mean, you know, I'm a huge fan of Joe Rogan, both as a podcaster and as a comic, but they know that's a safe space. If they listen to your logic, and can't... I'm frozen again.
This is so funny. I don't know if you can hear it or not, Jim, but
I can hear it.
I mean, as soon as you start to get into critiquing the media and the powers that be, there went your video. So you're going to have to cut the video if you want to get a point across.
I am blaming... We said something bad about Microsoft earlier, and we've had technical issues ever since. I'm not saying... I'm saying maybe not a coincidence.
Maybe not. Standing Rock was the same way. My technology didn't work for months.
All right, I'm going to turn off the video and try to keep talking. All right.
All right, try.
And there we go. All right. So anyway, I've had discussions with you about gun control, and I've basically said initially, you know, your points make sense. And I didn't like hearing some of them, and then you actually clarified. And I mean, as I understand it, your point is we need to stop the inflow of handguns into the country. and not take anything away from anyone, but just basically stop the bleeding. And the point you made is that if a handgun became right now, every time they take a gun off the street, it gets replaced in seconds. I mean, gun buyback programs are a joke. You sell a gun to the police force, they melt it down, and new guns flow in unfazed. And maybe the money in the gun buyback program, go ahead and do your joke about that if you want.
Well, no, I mean, it's obviously just so funny. I mean, the idea that essentially what usually happens is somebody brings in what is is a $200 rifle, and they get $250 for it. So you may as well just go around collecting all the crappy guns you can buy, so you can go turn them in, get some money, so you could go buy a nice new gun at the store, because it'd be nicer. Then, and if that one gets all scratched up and tarnished, well, you just wait for the next police gun buyback, and you can take that one back and reinvest your piece into getting another nice new one.
Yeah, I mean, and the point you made that changed my opinion was that if you stop the inflow of handguns, and you've never been about banning things that can be used logically for sporting purposes or for in-home defense, I think you and I would agree that the best home defense weapon is definitely a pump shotgun, if for no other reason than if someone's breaking into your house and they hear, they know that they want to be somewhere else pretty quickly. I would love to see you have one of these debates, but it's like a major college football program going on the road to play a smaller school. It's like they know it's not in their advantage. All they can do is lose. If they win, great, but they're Alabama. They've got all the protection behind them from the NRA and all that bullshit. And if they have the debate and can't refute your points, which I'd be curious to see how they tried, then they've lost. And once that video's out there, if you're Colion Noir or Steven Crowder, you are going to be the guy who failed at the Second Amendment debate, and none of them want to be that guy.
Yeah, which I guess that's true, but it really belies how there's no principle. They're not actually for intelligent gun regulation or for doing for liberty. They're actually for chaos and for ideology, because all I'm trying to do is move the event. I'm not there to crush them and prove my point. If we have a better idea, then we'll change the better idea. And it's not even like the investment piece and the stop manufacturing. That isn't even like my crux. It's just that we act like there's nothing we can do. And the whole point of even that idea was to just say, hey, there's obviously things we can do. I mean, as somebody trained in business, it's like you get problems, and yeah, those are the problems. And then the executives say, how do we get around this problem? And there's always a way. When there's a will, there's a way to get around whatever their problem was. And so the idea that, how could you possibly start getting these guns off the streets? It's impossible. It's like, what? I mean, all you have to do is make it's basic human incentives. You have to make it more valuable to get rid of the gun than keep the gun. That's it. I mean, it doesn't matter how you're talking about. The government doesn't need to come kick in your door with weapons to take your gun. They can convince you to do it yourself by setting up all these other incentives and disincentives. And if you want to fight the government, I'm sorry, your handgun is not gonna fucking work. There were a lot of dudes that had handguns when I did not have a damn thing on me, and their handgun didn't save them from going to jail. So it's not like that's the weapon that's going to stop you. If you're going to want to really put up a fight against the military or the police, well, then you need real heavy armor. So I'm basically comfortable with you thinking you can go around carrying a Gatling gun. That would be fucking interesting, sure.
Well, on Whiskey Congress, we're going to be talking to a Second Amendment advocate. I will definitely offer him the chance to talk to you on your forum, on our with Whiskey Congress as moderators, or on whatever forum you decide. So we'll see if I can help you out with that. I'm not going to drop the guy's name because we haven't spoken to him yet, and I'd rather not do that. But after we talk to him tomorrow, I will float that idea and see if he's interested.
All right, that would be great. And it's not going this comment is not going to that person. That
Okay.
person's never talked to me or had anything issue. But a lot of these things, when they go, they start reverting to this bulliness. Like they don't want to be bullied. Like I'm so mean in the way I use talk. And if we're going to use insults or we're going to insult my idea, if we can't respect other people's ideas, then I don't understand. We can have a civilized conversation. So every one of them that's answering like that, bitch, if you can't handle this conversation, I don't think you can handle when the shit hits the fan with your gun. For one. And for two, you're going around telling everybody you're an alpha male. And the second you butt up against an actual alpha male, you just tuck your tail and cower away. And it's fucking embarrassing. And you'll never learn anything when you're right. So just open your mind.
Generally dry day on Wednesday with sunny periods. However, there may be more cloud in the southeast where it will be breezier. After a chilly start, it will be mostly dry on Thursday with some sunny spells. However, it may be rather cloudy in the southeast. Patchy rain will arrive in the north.